Okay, so our next concept in math is something called the order of operations. And it's a really important idea, and it might be a little confusing to you, but hopefully when you kind of figure out that we can break this down into steps, hopefully that makes sense and everything's good. So it just might be a little confusion at first, but let's push through that. This is a mathematical expression that I'm looking at on my page. 9 plus 3 times 6 minus 4. Now, if you just gave this to a bunch of different people without any rules about how we have to solve a question like this, then you get some different answers. You might get someone, this is what I would do if I didn't know there were rules. I'd be like, okay, 9 plus 3 is 12. 12 times 6 is 72. Minus 4 is 68. Done. That's actually not correct. In math, when you have multiple operations, and operations are the different things we do to numbers to get an answer, right? So the operations we have in this question is adding, multiplying, and subtracting. So when you have multiple operations, there's actually an order that you have to follow to solve these, to solve this question correctly. So you can use this acronym BEDMAS or BEDMAS to remember the order. The first two letters we're not going to talk about today, but we're going to take the mystery out of them. So the B stands for brackets. So if you see brackets, you always have to solve your brackets first. Okay. E stands for exponents. And this is where we're going to focus today. D stands for division. M stands for multiplication. These are the operations that we are familiar with, right? Division, multiplication. What do you think the A stands for? Adding, addition. And the S stands for subtraction. Okay? And what that means is, they also kind of go into groups. So what that means is, when you're solving a problem, you're going to look for any division or multiplication before you can solve any adding and subtracting. So adding and subtracting are going to stay at the end, and division and multiplication are going to be at the beginning. So let's go back and look at our question. Remember when we just did it in order, I got the answer of 68, but that's not the right answer. So we have to look and see, okay, are there any multiplication or division symbols? And right there, there is. So when I see that X, that means, okay, there is multiplication. So what is being multiplied? 3 times 6. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to solve 3 times 6, and I'm going to make a new line for my equation, and everything else just comes down. So I'm going to put an equals on the side because I'm working through my answer, and now I have 9 plus, and I'm going to do 3 times 6 is going to give me 18. So I've now taken 3 times 6 and I've solved that into 18, and the rest of my expression or the rest of my math question stays the same. So I've got 9 plus 18 minus 4. So now I look at my problem, there is no more multiplication or division. It's just adding and subtracting. So now I can add and subtract starting from the left and working my way to the right. So I'm always going to solve these questions one piece of math at a time. So now I'm going to do 9 plus 18, which is going to get me to 27. We'll do that in green just to kind of keep my pattern going. 27. And then in blue, I'll bring down the minus 4. And then this is just the last piece to do. So I've run out of room down below, so I'm just going to draw an arrow over here, put my equal sign, and 27 minus 4 is 23, and that's my final answer. So we're going to play around with this stuff. We're going to be looking at questions with multiple operations, and we're going to be looking for the division and multiplication parts first. Solve that first, and then we're going to solve the adding and subtracting next as they come across the page. So let's go into your worksheet for today